again to the Mystic Mama on YouTube. Today I'm going to show you how to dye white yarn using things that you've already probably got in your kitchen. If what you have in your kitchen is turmeric and vinegar and water and a pot, you can make this lovely yellow yarn. How wonderful! It's so easy. It's more easy to do it than not to do it, so you should do it. I'll also be showing you ways to incorporate your toddler in this process, because as a crafty person who loves to make things, sometimes I don't want to just wait until he's having a nap. I kind of want to just get on and do it. And it so happened that we did just get on and do it, and it turned into a really nice impromptu water play session. So you'll get to see a little bit of that, and in future videos I think I'll just give you some more tips on how to incorporate your toddler or your baby into your crafting, because let's face it, crafting is life and motherhood is life, and we should probably just combine the two into a really ultimate crafty mothery life. Yeah. We have to roll our yarn into a hank so that it can be dyed properly. I've just put one of Phoenix's chairs on its side, and I'm using the legs of the chairs to wrap around. So I've tied just a basic knot. Easy peasy. Now I'm just going to wrap my yarn around and around and around until I've got as much as I want in my hank. So I just cut off the end because I was finished. You might be interested to know that my tripod I'm using for my iPad is actually my son's high chair. So DIY. And now I'm just going to fold it into a right angle and bring my yarn around to wrap it around. Oh, not the whole thing, just the first layer. Wrap it around here. Pull. Wrap it around again, and then tie a knot. So you can do that, or you can just use other bits of yarn, just tie it around like this. Wow. I'm just going to do some around the back. We want to do four ties so that it's not too tight, because you want the dye to be able to get into these parts. But if you wanted like a variegated or a different styled wool, you could make them really tight, and it kind of is like tie-dye. So that's 2. You could be more sensible and have some scissors ready to do this. But when I get the impulse to do something, I do it and figure it out. Back in the old days, they never had scissors. I had to do a lot by hand. I tell myself anyway. Cool. So there's my lovely hank of wool. Now I'll show you how to prepare it. So to be very DIY, the water I'm using is vinegar, and lots of people say to use white vinegar, but because we run out of white vinegar, I'm using rice vinegar, which I found works just as well. So honestly, just use whatever vinegar you want. You might get slightly different results with different vinegars. Experiment. But for now, I'm just going to use this random rice vinegar we had in the cupboard. So I'm putting my dry yarn into a pot, a little bowl, and I'm just going to soak it in some vinegar. If you want to use some gloves while you squish it up and get that vinegar in there, go for it. Otherwise, just do it like this. Cool. That vinegar is all soaked in. I like the smell of vinegar. Cool. Next step. I filled my pot about 1/8 full. Not too much water, because I don't have a massive amount of turmeric and we're not dyeing a huge amount of wool, so you want it to kind of just cover the wool anyway. So I've just put the gas on, so it's heating up. I'm going to put a sploosh of vinegar in there just for luck, and wait for that to start boiling so that I know that it's nice and warm. So I've put about 3 teaspoons worth of turmeric in there, and the water's quite close to boiling. So I'm going to put my yarn in now. Sploosh. Again, make sure that's all covered. What a lovely colour. Such a golden yellow already. Anyway, now, oop, I see a little bit of, there we go. So it's almost boiling, but I'm not going, it doesn't need to boil. I'm actually just going to turn off the element now and let it sit in here for an hour or 2. You can leave it in as long as you want. I just like leaving it in for about an hour, sometimes even overnight, but I'll come back to you once it's been in there a while. Give it a good stir every now and then, just to make sure that the colour is even. So my yarn has only been in there for about 20 minutes, but I just lifted it up. Excuse the wiggle. And the liquid is running a little bit yellow, but it's mostly clear. And so because it's clear, it's telling me that the dark, as much of the colour has kind of been absorbed as it will. And actually, how beautiful is that? What a lovely yellow. So I'm going to put it into my bowl, and I'm going to take it outside, because I always feel like letting the colour sit in the yarn, in the sun, for a while just helps it absorb, makes it more magic. I don't know, you don't have to, but I always feel that it's nice to have it sitting in the sun for a while. What a lovely autumn day to dry my yarn, so that can just stay in there. Here's the view. Yeah, a lovely day. You can see the sea out there. Anywho, that's our back, some of our backyard. And our cool yarn. So the turmeric's been drying in the sun for a while. You can rinse it if you want, or you can leave it, depends what you're going to be doing with the yarn itself. I'm going to give it a rinse in one of these bowls, which Felix is playing in. And because the turmeric is non-toxic, I might as well rinse it in here and make his water yellow. Ow! What are you doing? Rinse the yarn! Handwork with toddlers. Good times. So thank you for watching this tutorial on how to make beautiful yellow yarn. The next tutorial I'm going to run will be following our process of how to teach children to knit, and I will be teaching you how to make knitting needles from scratch, which also is really basic. And so if you know how to do it, you'll be able to make knitting needles from anything. So we'll do a basic knitting needle tutorial, which will be really fun.